Hey, Tim Sykes here with another video lesson. Thank you for all the well wishes on wishing me to get better. I know I've been sick the past few days, just trading and traveling too much and working on these literally 1,000 schools that I'm planning to open. So I got a little too ambitious for my own good, but I'm feeling better now, and I thank you for all the messages of support. I appreciate each and every one of them, but we got to talk about the market. There's a lot of stocks that are going up, that are going down, and you can learn from both of them. There's lessons in literally every volatile stock. I don't follow stocks that are boring, mind you, okay? So everyone who brings up random tickers that are just boring, I'm not interested in them. I don't care what the technology is. I don't care what the management has promised. I focus on volatile stocks. BTUUQ is the most volatile stock. This is a 7-day chart. The stock went from 2 to nearly 20, and now it's coming down. I was actually shorting it today, and I lost a little money. We'll get into that in a second. First, I'm getting lots of questions about this. This is my virtual trading floor event, November 7th, and you basically get to spend the entire day with me, see my screen, talk with me. It's also Tim Bowen, who's the lead trainer on Stocks to Trade, and he'll be doing like an hour or two every few hours when I lose my voice, and I'm really excited about that. All you have to do to sign up is you go to timothysykes.com/VTF. Victor, Tom, Frank. timothysykes.com/Victor, Tom, Frank. Get in on that. It's going to be awesome. But let's talk about my trades today, because I've had some good trades, I've had some bad trades, but again, all of the trades have good lessons. Oh, also I got to congratulate some students. Arky, good job getting up early in California. Shorted CRBP yesterday. Overnight play at 9, covered at 7:30 this morning. Made $827. This is straight out of my short stocking DVD. So it pays to study. This is the latest example. Harrison, you get a follow for this because this is your first trade after a few months of study. Look at that. Think about that for a second. A lot of you guys always ask me, when's the first day I can study? When's the first day I can trade? Sorry. I don't want to study. I want to just get in on this ASAP. Learn from Harrison. He took several months to study before trading. And a lot of you can really benefit from that mentality. So he made a good 50 cents a share on SAEX on the morning bump. Nice job, Harrison. Armand, I love this. Him and Tim Bowen, have made their money back, from my program, and he's up about 8,000 in 2 months. So he's made his money back, and he's made more, and more importantly than just the money that he's made for, literally all my DVDs, all my webinars, everything. It's the knowledge, okay? You guys are investing in your future. It's crazy how I have to really pound this into you, where you think like, oh, I'm trying to make 50 bucks or 100 bucks or 1,000 bucks, and then I'm done with stock trading. Don't even start with me if that's your goal, okay? It's cool to make an extra few hundred or a few $1,000s here or there, but everything that I do is designed for people who really want to change their lives. And when you want to change your lives, I'm not talking about a few $100s or a few $1,000s. There's a lot of penny stock newsletters and chat rooms where they're all about like hot picks, and they try and get you thinking, oh, it's just about one hot pick. That's all I need. Let's do this. I'm focused on creating millionaires. So I know it might sound confusing to you, that I'm not just putting like one word commentary next to a ticker like a lot of these chat rooms do, and they say like, buy this. And they just get the whole chat room to try and buy one stock. I'm far more interested in teaching you patterns and rules and lessons so that you can actually become a millionaire over the years. And I know this makes me different and weird, and some of my alerts, guess what? They're a few minutes after the stock has already broken out, because I explain what my thinking is. I don't want you following my alerts, okay? All these chat rooms that have 1 or 2 words and they just say buy this ticker, and they say, morning spike or, news. They're not really interested in creating millionaires. They're interested in just picking hot stocks, and that's why, guess what? They don't have any actual millionaire students who show all their trades. There are some out there that claim millionaires. Where are all the trades? Show me the good trades and the bad trades. Show me everything. Show me full names. okay? There's a lot of BS out there. So congrats, Armand, for making your money back. But again, it's not just about the investment that you make in yourself. This is life-changing stuff. This is your future. And you have to think that way, because if you have the wrong mindset, trust me, as tough as it is for me to create millionaires from scratch, it is impossible if you have the wrong mindset. If you say, oh, Tim, I'll study later. I just want a hot pick right now. Oh, I only have a few $100s. Let me build up my account, then I'll study. No, no, no. You study first. Learn from Harrison. First trade with Timothy Sykes made after a few months of study. I know many of you guys watching this can't even think like that. You can't even comprehend. Try and put yourself in Harrison's shoes for a second. Be like, could I actually not trade for a few months? Looking at the market every day, studying every day, and not actually trade. And I guarantee that 99% of my students can't do that. And that is sad, because this is what it takes to actually become a millionaire. This kind of mentality that's so different than every other chat room and newsletter. And that's why I have more millionaire students than anybody. Also, Everyday Eric made $267 on TRTC. This was my big winner overnight, which actually keeps going. I sold it at 53. It's at 55 cents. It's not a very volatile stock. I was buying it yesterday in the 49s here. And frankly, it's just a perfect breakout. I mean, breakouts don't get much nicer than this. Let me use a tool here. I should actually be using stocks to trade now that I'm back in the US. I've been using E-Trade Pro because my Wi-Fi hasn't been good enough for stocks to trade. Let's see. Where do I even go? I haven't used this in so long. Oh, tools. Let's do a little trend line. And you can see here that there was resistance going back all the way here at roughly, what is this? I don't even know how to make it stick. Look at how bad I am. There we go. You can see the breakout going back to May of 2016. The top here in mid-August, and the breakout. Breakouts don't get better than this. And last time it broke out, you can see here it had a high of 40 cents, and then it went all the way to 70 cents. I don't think this will necessarily get to 70 cents. This is a lot slower moving, but this is a perfect technical breakout. So when I make the trade here, and I made nearly $2,000 on it. So I lost on BTUUQ. I'll get into that in a second, but I made more money on TRTC and I lost a little on EYES. So I actually have 2 losses and 1 profit today, and I'm still up overall because I cut my losses quickly. That's a good lesson from today. But TRTC, I mean, this is such a beautiful breakout. A lot of my critics say, Tim, you only trade gimmies. You trade these obvious patterns. Why don't you trade something hard? Why don't you do something crazy? And I don't know. I don't understand that, okay? I'm not that smart. I'm not good at math. I don't want to do hard. I want obvious freaking breakouts. And TRTC was that, so congrats to everybody who was long. I bought it several times yesterday at like 49, 50, 51. No, I don't even think I paid 51. I think it was like 49, 49 and a half, and 50. And now it's, here at 55. And maybe it keeps going, but the whole point, let me get rid of this stuff. The whole point was just to show you the breakout. That's all that I care about here. Remove these things. So you got the breakout. That's all I wanted. Obviously, I wish it were a more volatile stock. As I said earlier in this video, I prefer volatile stocks, but when you have a perfect chart breakout in a hot sector, I can't help it. Remember last week I was buying GRNH, and I was actually anticipating it to touch 12, and it didn't last week, and I was really kind of disappointed. I sold it at like 10, and I was like buying it, I sold it at like 10 and a half, and I bought it at 10, and I thought that it could really touch 12, and it couldn't last week. This week, it finally did, or late last week, a day after, or 2 days after I had sold. And now, it goes up to 15 cents. So look for these multi-week, multi-month breakouts. MJNA also, I was buying it at 7 cents, 7.5, expecting it to break this 8 cents. And now look at it, up to 13. These are more volatile stocks. So I underestimated MJNA, I underestimated GRNH, and now I've underestimated TRTC. And yet on all of them, I made a few $1,000s. So it's okay to play it safe. That's one of my key lessons today. And that brings me into, also EYES. I bought at pre-market expecting a potential morning spike. It actually failed right at the market open. It was choppy. It did get up to 350, so there was some profit opportunity. I was buying it around 335. And actually, over the course of the day, I mean, you couldn't have lost more than like 5 or 10 cents, and there was like 20 cents, 15, 20 cents of upside. But long story short, it didn't have the big spike that I wanted like it's had in the past. So I got out, I lost 60 bucks. I don't mind losing 60 bucks when there's a potential. If it did have the morning spike, I would have sold it at 370 and been very happy and made, nearly $1,000. So think about risk reward. Don't just think about how the stock ends up and if you have a loss on the overall trade. Don't judge a trade just based on, the overall gain or the overall loss. TRTC, okay, I was dead on right. It was a beautiful, beautiful breakout, multi-month, now intraday breakout, and I was dead on right, and I'll take that as a win. I took the profits. I could have more profits, but either way, I was on the right track. And again, going with my whole thesis where it's not just about the trades you make, it's about the education you receive from these trades. So even if you don't do a trade, even if you're paper trading, even if you're studying for a few months like Harrison did, you get the education and you learn to do better over time. That's how you refine. That's how you get better in the end. Remember, 90% of traders lose money. So I'm a very different teacher than most, and I have a very different teaching mentality. And it's all about learning and refinement over time. Not just about your profits, not just about hot picks. That's bullshit. Anybody who says that, it's bullshit. And that is why there are so many fakers, and it makes me mad. But therein lies the opportunity. All I have to do is be honest. It's kind of cool that there are so many fakers too. So thank you, fakers, even though you're pieces of shit, and I wish you didn't exist, but because you do, all I have to do is be honest and teach what actually works, because I actually did take a few thousand and turn it into several million, like pretty much nobody else other than Tim Grittani, my second millionaire student, has done. Now let's get to BTUUQ. This is probably the best and toughest lesson to teach. So I actually lost roughly $1,000 on this today. And a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't have shorted in the first place. It's a scary stock. And I would say, no, I'm glad I shorted, not just because, it's a good education, but because the risk reward was there, especially if you're willing to play it safe like I was. So BTUUQ right now is at 13.42. I'd actually be up 10 cents a share on my short right now if I was still holding. But it faked me out this morning with not just one, but two morning spikes. And frankly, I was very fortunate to even find shares to short at Interactive Brokers. Thank you, IB. Even though I lost money on it, I haven't really been shorting like aggressively lately because I've been trading with such a small account. Next year, I'm actually going to have two accounts, one with $5,000 and one with $1 million. And you'll see me trade them very, very differently. With a $5,000 account or a small account, I protect. Trades like TRTC, where maybe it's not the most exciting and I make like 5 or 10% overnight. Guess what? On a $5,000 account, making 100, making 200 every night, every other night, every few nights, it adds up, and that's how you grow a small account. BTUUQ is very tough, A, to find shares to short, but B, to try and trade with this kind of choppiness because it spikes, it drops from 15 down to 12 near the market open. Then it goes back to 15, then it goes back to 13, then it goes to nearly 16, now it's back to 13. And it's like, you don't know which way to go. Well, let me break it down. This stock is probably going to have its first down day today. And that's usually the end of these kinds of run-ups. Even if it comes back today, probably today or tomorrow, it's going to be the end of it. You can see the volume has already begun fading over the previous days. It's not sustainable. So you want to look for shares to short anywhere up here. And I know that's scary. And I know that's confusing, and because I'm trading with a small account this year, I actually had to cut losses quickly because even though my goal was to make $2 to $4 a share, I'm not going to risk losing $4 a share. I had a lousy 800 shares, so what did I have? Like a $10,000 position. which I know to many of you guys is a lot, but for me, I'm trading with like 0.1% of my net worth. Like it's laughable that I'm trading like this, but I do it in order to teach. I don't trade with a big account because a lot of people who do trade with a big account, and again, these flawed teachers who talk all about their profits, they're not creating any actual millionaire students because they're not trading in ways that are good for small accounts. It doesn't matter if you have a millionaire student and they already started with $1 million. I'm teaching specifically for you guys who have small accounts. And in order to trade that way, you have to think really differently. You have to think, how can you grow your account exponentially? So it's fine to trade BTUUQ, whether you have a big account or a small account, but you have to trade them very differently. If I had a big account, I would be shorting all up in here. I would be shorting whenever I could, or trying to find shares to short. Just because you want to short doesn't mean that you actually can. It's been very difficult to find shares to short. But Interactive Brokers did have a few shares to short today, and I was very grateful for finding them. But at the same time, I was aware that I'm trading with a small account. So I actually got executed some on this drop and some on this spike. My average was $13.50. So when I even realized that I had shares to short, frankly, because I had a good till canceled order in and I didn't check my Interactive Brokers account in time to actually see the orders even get executed, I was down 70 cents a share when I first discovered that I had shares to short. And then I was very happy that, I could have taken profits of like 25 cents, but that was never my goal. If I'm going to find shares to short of this very difficult, hard to borrow stock, making 25 cents is not an option. And again, right now I'd be up 20 cents a share and it looks like the stock is actually bottoming. So I would never, ever be covering here, because if it does bottom, okay, then maybe you made 25 cents. If it doesn't bottom and it cracks, this thing could go to 12, 11, 10, 9, $8 a share today or tomorrow. So you're talking literally $4, $5, $6 a share of downside from here, potentially. So if you are fortunate enough to have shares to short, that's awesome. The danger is very much real here. And that is when it failed to go down here and it spiked $2 a share off its lows. Now, I didn't get out at the exact top. I got out at, roughly $14.80. I lost a little over $1 a share, which was my risk. So when you have a small account, you need to have a specific level of risk. What are you willing to get out at? Don't just say you're willing to hold the stock no matter what. Too many people who are short these kinds of companies, they say, oh, the company's eventually going to go to zero. I'm just going to hold no matter what. And you get squeezed or you get bought in and you have a monstrous loss that you can't deal with. Or if you believe in some of these companies and you believe the management hype and the lies and you just hold and you go down with the ship as it goes down to zero. I've seen that a lot. But if you have a small account, I want you to start thinking about how do you trade these volatile stocks with the potential for big wins, but also protect your ass, okay? Protect your blind side. Put in a mental stop loss. For me, it was roughly $1 a share. By the time I even got executed, I lost like $1.20 a share. But this would still be a good trade for me because even though I lost $1 a share, I had the potential to make $4 a share. If it didn't squeeze here, let's say if I got the shares right now at $13.50, or $13.57 was my average. If I got the shares short right now at $13.57, I would be holding it because, frankly, the morning spike failed. It's a double top. And most likely, this thing is going to tank $3 or $4 or $5 a share in the next few days without the risk of much spiking like earlier. Unfortunately, when you are trying to find shares to short of something this difficult to borrow, you don't get to choose your exact entry time. If I wanted to short right now, I probably couldn't because everybody is looking for shares to short. So this is the tough lesson with these. Sometimes you have to risk a little pain and you have to short before it becomes apparent to everybody that this could fall off a cliff. And that's very difficult to do because, when you're risking pain, you want to risk a little pain, but you don't want to risk a lot and you don't know how high it can go. Just because it double topped here in the 1560s doesn't mean that it couldn't have broken out and gone back to 18 and then I'm down $5 a share. Why would I be shorting a stock where I can make $4 or $5 a share and I'm down $5 a share? Then, okay, maybe if I have a big account, I can average up and maybe get my average price from the 1350s, maybe to like the 1450s or the 1550s or the 1650s. And that way I can increase my position and lower my dollar per share loss. But with a small account, you can't do that. So a lot of you guys see these big time short sellers on Twitter and these big time traders who post these miraculous trades. And you're like, I want to do that. How do I do that? You can't do it with a small account. You have to protect your small account, because guess what? Those big traders, sometimes, even though they're not going to post them most of the time, they take big losses by averaging up, averaging up, averaging up. Sure, sometimes they win. A lot of the time they win. With this stock, I could probably average up and win. But all it takes is one stock for you to be wrong on, and you don't win, and you lose. Not just 20% of your account, but 50% of your account, or maybe 100% of your account. Okay? There have been plays in the past few months that have gone from like 2 to 50. So don't ever think that just because a stock has gone from 2 to 13 or 2 to 18 that it has to be over. And part of the reason why I took the $1,000 loss is because I knew I'd be making a video lesson about it. Whether I make 1,000 or lose 1,000 or make 5,000 or lose 5,000, it doesn't matter to me. I'm in a very unique position where I'm trading with a small account and it doesn't influence my life at all. So I can bring you the very best lessons. And the lesson here on this one and on all of these volatile stocks, if you have a small account, you must have a mental stop loss and you must be willing to take small losses, even if eventually, like on this one, I could have had a nice profit. I could not risk it because I'm trading with a small account mentality. Obviously, with me, someone who has millions of dollars in the bank, I could easily add to my brokerage account. I could easily, average up on this position, but I'm trading kind of like one arm tied behind my back. I'm thinking as if this is my entire portfolio. I started the year with 12 grand. I'm up to like 90 grand. I'm thinking as if this means the world to me. And that is how I become this kind of really useful teacher, where I'm thinking differently and I'm trading very differently than I normally would if I had a big account. So while I lost on this, and a lot of the big traders will be like, Sykes, he lost on this. Yes, and I am proud of it because I am teaching you how to cut your losses quickly when you have a small account and you protect yourself. That is how you should be thinking if you have a small account. If you have a big account, this video lesson does not apply to you. If you have a big account, I would be shorting it nonstop, anywhere from the 16s, 15s, 14s, 13s, because I highly, highly think that this is going to crash to the single digits today or tomorrow or sometime this week or next week. But small accounts, you can't be that aggressive when you have this kind of choppiness, okay? I know too many people with small accounts who were shorting this on this day here in the 8s, and they were emailing me and they were saying, oh, Tim, this has gone from 2 to 8. It's got to go down. And then it goes to 18. And guess what? They're not emailing me anymore. I don't know where they're going. And by the way, this stock is cracking literally right as I'm filming this video lesson. So this stock, is taking out this key support level. All it has is this key support level left in the low 12s. And this could absolutely fall off a cliff today. And my $1,000 loss looks pitiful compared to the money that I could be making if I was still short. But I don't mind, because I can show you that sometimes small losses are good, especially when you have a small account. I'm still green on the day overall, by the way. Between this and TRTC, because my TRTC gain was so much bigger than this loss and such a better trade for me, I protected my small account. And that's why my small account grows over time. So sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war. And that's what this is. I lost the battle on BTUUQ. I'll still try and find shares to short. I still might get short. I still might make money on it. But I took my loss this morning proudly. And I want you to start thinking about that. Sometimes when you have a loss, to protect yourself, don't get down on yourself. Don't say, oh, this is terrible. Oh, my friends and family are all right. I know everyone hates penny stocks. Sometimes small losses are good. And it's good for you to learn that. And when you do have a big account, don't forget those small losses that made you and built your account into a big account. Because too many traders I see with big accounts, they never want to take losses, okay? And a lot of them have had big, big, big losses lately with these kinds of crazy stocks. A lot of these expert short sellers, and they don't post it because they don't want to hurt their little social online ego, which is pathetic, but don't get in the habit of being willing to risk everything on any one stock. No one stock matters. But if you aren't willing to cut losses and you aren't willing to manage your risk, guess what? One stock could be the end of you and your career as a trader, and I don't want that to happen. So that's today's lesson. I'm still green on the day, and you got a good lesson. I'll see you guys in the chat room.